Hello, beautiful Taurus family, and welcome to March 2020. I get really emotional about this month. And as you know, like weirdly, whenever I talk to Taurus, I tend to get really emotional with you guys anymore. Like a lot. March just has this feeling like it's important. It's an important point of understanding in this whole journey. And I think about this last year and how much so many of us have been carrying huge new lessons, like huge learning curves. And that's means like challenge, and it means, heartache and confusion and so many things, and there's something very magical about this March and the way that it is presenting itself and connecting. March always has a special place in my heart because it's a transmutational month. We have the equinox on the 20th that begins Aries season. But before that, as we lead into that, it's Pisces season, which is a sign so deeply connected with transmutation and transcending, the smallness of who we think we are into something much bigger. And then as we head into Aries season, we get to embody what it is we learn from that Piscean magic. So this is a really powerful month overall, just in being human, being a spirit and human, and how those two connect and collide, especially during that equinox. So it's a really powerful time of year. For you all, this is also, I think, a very advantageous month, very healing, good month. All of the planets are direct in March, which every year there's normally a point in the year where we have a month or two that's very direct. So it's not about review or doing deeper internal work, which, to be honest, I love that kind of work. But this is the kind of month where it's about crisp, clear, forward. And one of the big things that shifts right away for you is that Mars, who's been with you for many weeks, is moving into Gemini. And this eases the tension in your sign quite a bit. While Mars is great for willpower, making things happen, pushing through when it feels really difficult, he can be really useful for that kind of work. And sometimes that's very helpful in life. It's very exhausting. You can only use Martian energy so much. And for Taurus especially, Mars is not comfortable in Taurus. Mars kind of pushes against it, and also caused a lot of extra tension for Tauruses in general. You still have Lilith and Uranus in your sign, and these two are still very electrical, very rebellious, wanting to do things in a unique way. But I think what I really love about Mars leaving and us navigating the Pisces and Aries energy for you is that you can trust in your innate Venusian magic. You're a Venus ruled sign. And what does it mean to be Venus ruled? This is all about making beautiful things, embodying beautiful things, making living life a form of art, a form of beauty. And I think, it's easy to underestimate our own innate way of visualizing, of dreaming, of casting spells. And that was the message that came for me, is that this is a powerful time of dreaming and casting spells. But, don't necessarily assume that you have to do it in the way that you would think of doing that. We have kind of our cultural expectations. You do a visualized meditation, you do a vision board, you journal a certain way, you get certain crystals, and not to denigrate any of those tools, they're all great, but you may have your own special way of doing death. There's transformation, I'm telling you. This is a transmutational month, but not in the mysterious kind of hidden, retrograde, down in the bones kind of way. It's transformation via things moving, which is almost scarier, right? When the world starts to move again, we start to see paths forward. That's its own form of death and rebirth. But we each have our own ways of envisioning and embodying and creating and spell casting. Two queens, Queen of Wands and Queen of Swords. I love it. Those are some great queens. Those are some very blunt queens right there. They are not going to be just going along with whatever. They're going to tell you what their opinion is and what they think about it and if they're going to enjoy it or not. And Seven of Cups, the card of deep dreaming. But trust in your own energy signature, right? Like this month is so important for that Taurus. I think so often we think okay, like I'm who I am, I have this energy, but it's a little like awkward or maybe it's not what I think it needs to be. So I'm going to like modify it by kind of adding these cultural standards to it, these cultural practices to it. And then maybe like I'll be able to connect with people. And it's like, don't worry about that. Just have fun creating from your own innate modality. Don't worry about outcome. Don't worry about if people are going to get it or not. This is your doorway. And, so we head into Aries season. That's the sign right before yours. So all the rest of Aries season, including into April, you're going to be working with this energy. When we get to your birthday, that's going to be a whole other story when we get to Taurus season. But trusting yourself, going with your innate way of creating. The thing with Uranus and Lilith is these are radically honest energies. They don't want to just have cookie cutter shapes and say, this is who you need to be. You just relax a little bit and see what happens. Now let's talk about these cards. They've been lurking in the background. Okay, the Death card. This is a powerful card. This is one of the most potent cards, and I know a lot of you probably really enjoy this energy. It is associated with your opposing sign of Scorpio, right? Taurus and Scorpio are the birth and death axis, and you are the birth, the fertile, birthing, creative energy, and Scorpio has to do with death and transformation. But this card, it speaks to an emergence, and that's a huge theme in March. The rising of the sun is a very important part of Death card, no matter what. The rising of the sun indicates that, yes, there have been things that have been lost. There have been skins that have been shed. There has been grief. There has been digging in the midnight garden. There is also this sunrise, and there is something about that rising that is important to pay attention to. And for you, these queens are saying it all. Queen of Wands, Queen of Swords. You might have some strong women around you, which is great, right? You might have some strong, feminine, empowered energy. This also reflects something emerging out of you. The Queen of Wands is brazen, opinionated, unafraid to take her space in the spotlight, in the world, right? And not in an egotistical way. I think sometimes we get a little confused because we've been told so long that to feel empowered and to just be fully present, taking any kind of space in the world is somehow egotistical, narcissistic, selfish. It will make other people uncomfortable. But if you're really authentically just being yourself, it helps other people feel more comfortable. And it helps foment moments of integrity and safety and vulnerability in the world. And so the Queen of Wands fully embraces that and says, yeah, this is me. Here I am. And she's a very sassy energy, very empowered, very embodied. Now, she's here with the Queen of Swords. Now, the Queen of Swords sometimes can be, she has some nicknames, this card and this energy, like the Widow's card, and some decks have her, watching her partner, like leaving her and things like that. But I think that gets us away from the central point, which is that Queen of Wands is honest. She sees clearly whatever needs to be seen, understood, cleared away. Sometimes that can feel a little intimidating or scary, right? To really look at anything that we want to shift or change, or that we know we need to address and look at and clear and cut. But the Queen of Wands is also very empowered, because if we're willing to accept that we have changed and we are curious enough to really look at where we're going next, and we're curious enough to let go of what we think we need to cling on to, we are open for everything. So these queens are speaking to this transformation for you all. Now here's the way you work with this magic. 7 of Cups. A lot of people say they have a hard time connecting with Seven of Cups energy because it's very mysterious. There's a shadowed figure. He's looking at these cups. A lot of the cups have kind of grotesque or strange or spooky things in them. But here's the deal, the thing, working with 7 of Cups energy, with dreaming energy, with expansion energy that is associated with things like Pisces and water and mystery, is that there's openness. You can go anywhere you want with your imagination and your words and the way that you are creating in your mind and your energy. And so you can go, it's just as easy to go down a path of something really scary or overwhelming as it is to go down the path of something very supportive. And because culturally a lot of us have grown up with a lot of fear and anxiety and worry, especially if you're a very conscientious, sensitive person, it's part of the vulnerability of working with 7 of Cups is that part of yourself that has been trained to look for the scary is going to very easily start constructing. So 7 of Cups is double-edged, but it's also very potent. This is the energy that if you're willing to go up there, right, or in there, either way, it's like, is it out into the heavens and expanding yourself out, or is it going way deep within to the hidden voice within? That dreaming aspect, what is leading you forward, is going to be the way that it's clear that you will be taking up your space, and you will be making clear what it is you want to cut away, clear away, acknowledge, and shift. All of these cards are about what happens when we do fully embody who we are and who we are becoming. There is a small death that comes with that, right? Or a big one sometimes. And we often think about the ending of things, right? The end of a story, the end of a chapter being when the transformation takes place. But often it's at the beginning of something, when we're saying yes to something, when we're taking that space, that the transmutation happens. And I think we're often shocked to find that's when it happens, because we've been reading stories where it's always about the end of the book. And suddenly now the things are happening, the doors are opening, and then why am I feeling as though I'm in this transformational time? So let's pull a card from my Cosmic Tarot. See what energy wants to connect with us today. The Devil, okay. Wow, this deck is really vivid and really unique. So you guys are getting the full show here with the dungeon torture. Wow, hello. So this is really interesting. The Devil can represent really good work ethic, focus, groundedness, persistence. Those are beautiful things. The Devil also represents obsession and getting chained to the past, getting chained to what you think you have to keep doing over and over again. And that keeps you locked up, which is why the Devil is often represented with people, beings, chained to those familiar routines, chained to what they think they need to keep. And this is a really subtle energy. I think sometimes we don't realize where we're still chained up. This is like some intense truth medicine here, but it's sneakier than we think. We think we know. Oh yeah, well, I'm still hung up on that, but it's not a big deal. But there are often things that we think we have to keep doing, keep living through, keep reliving, that it's just because it's become so natural in our lives, we don't even know, we don't even realize that we're doing it. So when the Devil is showing up here, what I'm seeing is everything is saying, hey, here's your next path, here's an opening, here's a really exciting thing. Now you have a choice to let yourself take up that space, shine bright, dream big, take all that unique Venusian energy. And that can look different for everybody. It doesn't all mean we have to get up on a stage with Broadway lights and stand there and yell. Taking up your space and shining your light can look very quiet and simple. It can look bold. It can look hundreds, thousands of ways. And the devil is here, but maybe you should keep yourself small. But maybe you shouldn't shine so bright. But maybe you should keep seeing that person even when they're keeping you in a loop of uncertainty and lack of feeling safety and lack of consistency that isn't working for you. Or that, it can be anything. It can really be anything. The devil is just a reminder there, I think, at the end of this reading, that you have all this energy that's like this brightness, this powerfulness. And that's really at the moment where we often want to pull ourselves back, get back into that smaller space because it's a little familiar now. So there's a big reminder there. And I do think March, it's kind of a strong word to use, but it's almost a little agoraphobic because it's starting to feel really wide open. And that can be a little overwhelming. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to wish you all a really magical, safe, love-filled, self-trusting, warm, golden March, full of support for you and how you're transforming, full of lots of affirmations in your conversation with the world, the way that things show up and shift. I hope it's filled with beautiful dreams, beautiful envisionings, beautiful creations, and with people that honor your time and your energy appropriately. And that you give yourself time to rest and recharge. That is just as important in the creation of magic in this life as anything, maybe more important than anything, than any other ingredient. Rest is essential to creating beauty in the world. You can find me on Patreon, which is where we go deep on all the topics and we hang out a lot over there. So I would love to see you on my Patreon. It's really such an amazing space and it will get really emotional if I even start to think about it. So I'd love to see you over there. You can also find me on my website and on my Instagram. So I'll leave all of those links below. And you can find one of my favorite Tauruses ever, PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry, on her Etsy shop. I will leave her link below as well. Have a gorgeous March, my beloved Tauruses, and I will see you in April.